Morning YouTube. Now the day has finally come. I had this as a bit of a health update and also a bit of a business update. I don't think I'll do a catchy title or clickbaity title, the business is shutting and all this. But I am shutting up early and I'll explain why as we go along. So, if you're unfamiliar or it's the first time you're watching, a couple of years ago, I had a perforated bowel. And since then I had to, because of that, I had to have a stoma formed. So I was using a colostomy bag for a couple of years. And I also got hernias from it. And I think that's due to basically bending. I think I was doing stuff too early. And that's what I'm definitely rectifying this time round. So I've been living with these hernias for a couple of years. And they've got worse and they've got bigger. And it's causing more problems. And it's getting where basically it's affecting everything. I keep having, every so often I'll have this pain and this cramp, and it will come on and it will last for maybe a couple of hours and then it'll go away, and then in the worst case scenario it will last for a couple of days. But the only thing that seems to shift it, and this is what the doctors actually said will help it, is actually lying down. Just lying down, it must just calm everything and let everything settle. So that helps me a lot. Painkillers don't touch it, but as you can imagine, if you're self-employed and you have this once a week, you're gambling, aren't you? You're like, well, is it going to be 2 hours this week or is it going to be 2 days this week? Touch wood, it used to happen a lot, and then what I ended up doing was getting rid of any jobs where there was lots of bending, lots of lifting, lots of heavy stuff. I got rid of them, and touch wood, it did sort of ease off for a bit, but then it come back, and it's coming back more. So I don't know what triggers it. I think it is bending and lifting and stuff like that, but I am trying to be very careful. But you do a gardening job and you try to limit your bend, it's almost impossible. You know, you've still got to bend down and pluck a weed out, and is it that did it, or is it lifting the mower in? When, you know, it's just... So anyway, we're at this point now where I have had my last consultation with the consultant, and he said everything's come back fine from the colonoscopy. That's fine. He says that everything's come back fine on his end. He's happy for me to have an operation. He reckons it will be successful. He says there's like a 4% chance of a problem, but that's, you know, that's by the by, isn't it really? But he's confident. So what he said is he's going to book me in. Well, he says he's going to put me on a waiting list and get us booked in. I said brilliant. But about 3 weeks ago I sort of had a inkling that this was gonna happen, because and this is my advice to you, so many people I hear where they say that they're on waiting lists or they're having problems with the hospital. And somebody told me once, this is when I was in hospital the first time, he says it was an old bloke and he'd been in hospital and he's had everything this poor bugger had, and he says if you want a good life within the NHS, and you want the treatment you deserve and you need, he says you need to be the loudest person in the room. He says don't be a prick, don't be rude to people, don't be an arsehole, but he says if you don't shout up, you don't ask, you don't get in the NHS. And it's the same with your aftercare. He said if you're not happy, keep on at him. He says don't barrage him, but make it known that you know they will, you know that you're hot on with it. He said if you have problems, ring pal. And that's what I've done, because there's been points where I felt like I've been messed about. So I have been ringing the secretary to find out. The secretary's okay, but she can't give a straight answer. And I can understand that, but you imagine if I said to your business, right, you're going to have to shut for 2-3 months. Okay, when? No idea. Soon. Next year, maybe. So, you know, we try to go about it the best way we can. So the last time I spoke to his secretary, she said it's penciled in for the 14th of November. And I relayed this back to the consultant, and he says, yep, He said, if that works for you, we'll try our best to get it for that date. He says, there might be a chance that we have to cancel, but he says we will try and stick to that as best as we can. So that's the point we're at now. So I'm going to go through with you a couple of things on what I need to do. I'll sort of split it into three. There's the business wrap up, so we need to get that all wrapped up because there's going to be so I'm going to be in hospital for, he says, a couple of weeks in hospital, and then you're looking at like 4 to 6 weeks recovery, where you can walk about for the first 2, because they give you a list, don't they, where you can lift a kettle of water in the 3rd week. They give you these like breakdown. But he says in a job like yours where you're working, he says you want to give yourself as much time as possible. And I did say to him, well, my plan is to, if it's 14th of November, I'm going to be in hospital for a couple of weeks anyway, so that'll be pretty much the end of November when I'm out of hospital. And then December, he said you should be back up on your feet by then, especially the 2nd week of December. You should be back up on your feet. You should be able to do what you need to do, but not work. I said that's fine. So my plan is, week before Christmas, to do my Christmas card drop and my jam drop. Do that every year. And then as for actual work, he says, and I said, well, I'm thinking 2nd week of January. He says, yeah. He says, that sounds to me like, if everything goes well, he says that sounds doable. He says, and achievable. He says, so stick to that. So I'm still at the point where I don't know whether it is going to happen, because and this is another thing, you hear so many people where they say, oh, my husband's had a surgery, got there and it was cancelled on a day. And this consultant did say there is a chance it could be cancelled. He said if there's an emergency that comes in, as in someone desperate, what can you do at that? But he says we will try our best. So I'll go through what I need to do. So the first thing is the customer thing. I'll explain how I'm doing with the customers and that sort of side. The second thing is I need to get the business wrapped up, for one. And then the third thing is I need to get myself sorted, and I'll explain that briefly right towards the end. So let's just get on with it and go from there. Right then, YouTube. So this part of the video, nice and simple. Decided to write myself a list. So the first 2 is customers, but I'll explain that a little bit. But what I need to be doing is I want to service all the kit before winter, as in before my winter, which I'm hoping to be finished by the 7th or the 8th of November. So one of them, that week before, I want to get all the tools serviced. Now, the big mower, the big roller and the dinky roller in the back of the van, so account for them. And I've got a 21 inch that's off site at the moment, so that needs to be serviced. But so stuff like this, the scarifier and the weed ripper, I don't use it much. So what I'm thinking of doing is servicing it, of course, and then probably putting some UN 1203 in, or Aspen. Now, I've never used it. It is expensive for what it is, but I'm worried because I don't use them that much. I've been told, or I've read, should I say, everyone's got an opinion on this. If you leave fuel in there, it will, the fuel's crap you buy nowadays. Now, I always try and buy the E5 or the premium petrol, but there has been times where I've had to buy E10, so I don't know what's in it. I don't want to run the risk of any problems occurring, basically. So I want to get everything serviced. Now, the backpack blower, I always use the green, wherever it is somewhere. That's it. I always use the Still HP Super for 2-stroke. That's the only 2-stroke products I have, actually. Well, I'll tell a lie, I've got some down there, but I don't use them very often. So I always leave that in mixed up, and I've never had any problem. So what I want to be doing is I want to get everything just while I'm here. £33. I'm sure that's 40 odd quid now when I saw it, but anyway. And I bought that last year, so this is why we put prices up, guys. Things are going up all the time. So as you can tell, it's very organised in here ish. So what I want to be doing is getting all of this swept out, tidied up. I want to get all the stuff drained down of water, so especially exterior cleaning stuff, so the power washer, that will be serviced and ran where there's no water left in the pump, because I don't want it freezing and cracking. The gutter vac, that will be emptied out and cleaned, because I don't want the drum rusting away. What I always do is I empty it at the end of the year. Well, what I'm going to do with this, because this is the first year, I'm going to empty it and I'm going to give it a right good spray down with oil, and then just give it a good wipe. So it's got that barrier. It shouldn't rust, but I don't want it to rust. That's the old drum. That's the new drum. I cracked that. Things keep happening. So that gets serviced and cleaned. The Ego stuff, basically all... Now that's the Dod Ego mower. Don't look at that. That's the repairs one. I got that for £20 because this needed parts. And the part for this was a lot more than £20. So I bought that and I got the part for that. And I also had other bits off it. And that is so unbelievably fiddly to fit. It took me like 45 minutes to work it out. So, generator, I've just bought it. I've just put brand new oil in. It's got less than an hour on it. So I'm not going to change oil. But I probably am going to put some Aspen fuel in it, because I don't know when the next time I'll be using it is. I don't want it to go peculiar. So, well, while I'm here, I may as well just do a little bit of a rundown. So, this side is where I keep compost and sand and the gutter clearing stuff there. I have a bird cage there. I'll explain that in another video. And then this corner I need to sort out, because it's just turned into a dump. But basically anything long and stuff I keep in there. That's the spare combi engine. I've got spares of stuff here. It's just unorganised. It's like the arsehole of a unit, this is. That is where I keep all my power washing gubbins. That is the backpack blower. The BR600. Do I like it? Yes. Water-fed pole. Corona. I think it's Corona. Like leaf thingies or circumciser. That's the pole pruner. Very rarely use it, I'll be honest with you. Very rarely use it. The bloody thing can't stand up in here though, so it gets lied down. That's the gutter vac. That's the broken gutter vac. I'm gonna have a go at repairing that, but I don't know actually. I always keep water because I like to wash my hands when I come back, especially if I'm here, and also for the exterior cleaning. That's the cone safety team. This will be drained down and left empty. I'll probably put some screen washing just to protect the pump from it cracking, because I can imagine in here it's going to be like a freezer. That's my chair. I like to look at that and see what I've achieved while I'm sitting in it. This is my exterior cleaning box. This is what's coming with me today. And I need another bottle of that. So that will live in there. Just like that. So that's coming with me today. That's my workbench. As you can see, it's accessible, not. That's my spares. That also comes with me. Generator will be coming with me today. Got a bit of cleaning to do. That is the weed ripper, long story. Dod Ego, current Ego, scarifier. Now that was the best way of getting that bugger up and out of the way, because it was a bane of my life. This thing here is a pure piece of shit. It was like 150 quid, I think, or 100. It was over 100. It was rubbish. The wheel fell off it pretty much, you know, straight away. I bought it, and then I bought it before I fell poorly, kept it, and then I used it, and it was like 4 months after I was ill. And, you know, you can't really ring and say, oh, I've had it for 4 months, the wheel's just fallen off, but I haven't used it. That's a good tool. I aren't using that for AstroTurf. And then this is like the little storage area. So all my sort of cleaning chemicals, bit of weed killer, you know, stress trimmer line. That's the old two-stroke tools. And all this is the servicing stuff. Now, I need to get another bottle of oil because I think I'm going to use it. I don't think I need another gearbox oil. This is probably going to last me for like 10 years. I'm going to get another bottle of Aspen. That's for my van. And then that's a bit more engine oil for the stuff. So I need to get everything here this is me servicing kit. That's the penis, no, that's the penis pump. I mean, that's what I use to drain the petrol out and the oil out. I always wash it out after petrol because I'm a bit worried. That is a very phallic-like funnel, and this will be a lockbox for something in its future. So yeah, a bit of a run on this area here. Don't get me started on this. This again is like the armpit. Hedge trimmers, broken hedge trimmers. Well, they aren't broke, they've got an intermittent fault, so I need to get them sorted. So yeah, that's it, that's a rundown. So basically, there's a big list of things. There's secure the trailer, winterizer kit, service seat, tidy container, as you can see. It's not a mess, but it does need tidying, so that will be done. I want to be finished by 7th of November and then have fun and rest up. I'll explain that in a separate video. So, next part of this video is me going to be talking about the customer side. So, have a good day, guys. Morning, YouTube. So, part of this video I'm going to talk about the customer side and getting that all wrapped up, because obviously I will be finishing that little bit earlier. Now, for me, traditionally, my gardening business, I've shut up shop for about a month, give or take. I always think people don't want the gardener around a week before Christmas. Past experience has taught me again that they don't want people in between Christmas, so like between Boxing Day and New Year's Eve, and then it's normally about a week after. That's when people, you know, want to go back to normal. Basically, you know, Christmas is over, and so that's made it so I've always took what 3-4 weeks off over the Christmas period, and that's normally served me well. This year is different because I'll be finishing probably around about I think it's the 8th of November I'll be finishing. I just need to finalise the diary. Now there is commercial work that will be ongoing, but that's covered, that's sorted. But as for the residentials, the last visit's going to be the 8th of November. Now the thing is, I don't think that's going to be the last fit, as in at the moment we are on the 21st of October, or 20th. Anyway, we're nearly towards the end of October, but it's not slowed down. If anything, everything seems to still be growing, you know, not as quickly as it was, say, summertime, but it is still putting growth on. So what I've said to the majority of customers is that I will be back January to just do another visit, and then I'll be again doing another visit in February. So you'll be going to once a month over January and February. Why? Well, I do think the gardens will need it, and even if the grass isn't growing, there's still other things to do. There's leaves, there's other jobs that need to be done. So there is still work to be done. Now I do expect a large portion of, well, not a large portion, I expect a good chunk of them, when it comes down to it, they probably will cancel. Thing is, some people will cancel because they want to save themselves a little bit of money. Some people will cancel because they'll look outside and it'll just be terrible weather. And I'll be honest with you, I might cancel because it's, you know, if I turn up and I'm supposed to be doing a visit and it's bucketing it down or it's frozen, well, I'll cancel the visit and I'll move it to another day. So just have to see, you know, what sort of things ends up getting done. January and February are very, very, very finicky months, I find. Last January was actually very good because of the exterior cleaning, but we'll have to see this month. So the plan is to get shut up by the 8th of November. So what I've done in the build up to that, because I did have a little bit of a hopeful, you know, tipped off about it, what I've been doing before then is I basically cancelled the newspaper ads, but work has still been coming in even though I cancelled the ads. One of them I had to let run because you sort of block book them, but other than that, work has to, and you know, if I can do it there and then, I have said to people, look, I've got very limited time, so if I can do it before then, I will, but if not, it'll be New Year. Some people have said, oh well, give us a call in New Year. Just have to see, you know, it might have been done, but I've got a list of people to call So I'm going to be back working in in January. So the plan is to get the newspaper adverts back in for January. Just try and drum up a little bit of work basically. So the customers all seem fine with it. I've had a word with them. I've just told them what's happening, that I will be, in hospital from from November the 14th up until probably New Year, but I'll see you in between because I'll drop you a card off. And another thing as well, I always drop a card and jam off because it's a good opportunity to sort of, again, drum a little bit of work up. Oh, this has grown, that's, dropped a lot of leaves. Do you want me to get a visit for you in January? Normally I'd do the visit before Christmas, but, this time round it would be, we'll get it done in January for you. So, just have to see what it brings, really. I said Christmas time's always winter time, always very finicky, so we'll have to see. But everybody seems alright, everybody seems happy with what's been said. So that is the customer part of the video sorted. We'll have to see what happens, but hopefully all being well, should be sorted.